So tonight's coaching video is going to be a little raw. Okay, if you're easily offended, you may not want to watch, but I don't see why you would, because all we talk about here is the truth, reality, and a lot of times reality is not very pretty, depending on how easily offended you are. So tonight I want to talk about where women get their power from. And I've always made the argument that women get their power from manipulating men, straight men, okay? That is where women have gotten their power since the dawn of civilization. Okay? Because women, the way women survived throughout the centuries, unlike men, was not from brute force and fighting lions and tigers and jousting and risking their lives or anything like that. The way women survived and gained resources was through pure manipulation tactics. And you see this happening to this very day, right? And women are more skilled than ever, where they use manipulation tactics on men to get what they want from men, to get men to comply to their demands, right? They're constantly using manipulation tactics, whether it be through crying, right? A lot of times women will cry, use tears to manipulate men, usually, again, straight men, into giving them what they want, caving into them, caving into their demands. They will also commonly use sex, right? The potential for sex, kind of like dangle that over your head in order to get you under their control, to actually control you, to get you to do exactly what they want, right? They will use that. They will also use other tactics where they will try to publicly shame you or threaten to shame you to your friends or oust you to your group in order to get you to comply. So you see all sorts of manipulation tactics being used by women in order to gain what they want. Okay, whereas men don't do this. Men don't really, real men, right? Men who are not feminized, men who are raised properly by a strong male role model, two-parent household, good father figure, good family. Men do not do this to each other. We don't try to sabotage each other. We don't try to manipulate each other. If we have a problem with one another, we try to work things out behind closed doors. We reach out to one another. We try to network with each other. For the most part, we try to build together, we try to create together, and we try to become better together. Okay, we don't try to tear each other down. We don't do that because that is something that would be considered a manipulative tactic that mostly a woman would use. Okay, and I'm not, don't hate on women for this. This is just, part of female nature. It's just, right or wrong. That is just how they get things, right? That is how they get straight men to do things for them, is through manipulation tactics. And I dare anyone to challenge me on this. Okay, I dare anybody. And most people who try to debate me on this just lose, right? They always lose because they're debating on their emotions, on their feelings, and it's usually a woman, right? Or it's a guy who's stuck in his feminine frame because he was raised by a single mom. They use the same type of manipulation tactics, right? Because this guy, he was raised by a single mom. He was raised in a fatherless home. So by that very definition, he is now a woman because he acts like one. He behaves like one, right? And I've said this a few times in my previous coaching videos recently that the same could be said of like these guys who do these exposed videos, even the guys who've done them on my channel, right? You see their behaviors. You see the way they conduct themselves. What are they doing? They're using manipulation tactics, right? They're trying to like traffic leech and clout chase, and they're trying to like run these smear campaigns on other channels. They do what's called channel bashing so they could bring eyeballs to themselves. Right? What is that? That is a manipulation tactic at the end of the day, because a real man wouldn't do that, right? A real man would reach out to the other content creator or the guy that they have a problem with behind closed doors and go, hey, I got a problem with you, man. We need to talk. Okay, I'm not, you don't go public with this stuff like a chick and start like making a scene in front of everybody. And that's something like chicks do often, right? If you ever had an argument with your girl, you notice like when you're behind closed doors, everything is like calm. She's like being reasonable. But the second there's an audience, say you're like in the middle of a mall or something, and there's people around, she'll be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this," and like throw this this entire like scene from a movie almost, right? This whole dramatic scene. Why? To gain attention, right? She's using a manipulation tactic on you. No different than these guys who are stuck in their feminine frame. And all these guys who run these exposed channels, by the way, no surprise, all raised by single moms. Any surprise? No. Raised by single moms. So of course they're going to use those feminine tactics because, again, they themselves have become a woman. So, and these are the guys that you should trust the least, are guys who act like women because they are going to use manipulation tactics on you, right? So when it comes to women gaining power, make no mistake, when a woman gets power, the way she's getting it is she's getting it by manipulating a straight man, if not a group of straight men. So let's talk about this historically, just to dive a little more into this point so that you can see where I'm coming from in case you're still not on board with this. Let's go back 100 years. Who gave women the right to vote? Did other women give women the right to vote? No. Women got the right to vote. They got that power from who? From men. Straight men. Right? They're not out there manipulating gay dudes. Okay? Because they can't. Gay dudes, like, they would have nothing to gain from this. So they can't manipulate gay dudes into giving them anything because gay guys have nothing to gain from. They don't want them sexually. They're not attracted to them. They want other dudes. Right? They're not attracted to straight women. The way that a woman would get power, a straight woman would get power, is by manipulating a straight man. So when it comes to women getting the right to vote, who gave them that power? Straight men. How did they get that power? Read your history books before they change it. They got that power from manipulating straight men into giving them the right to vote. So that's where that started. Right? I could go even further back if you want, but I won't. I'm just trying to keep this relatable. Right? So when it comes to voting, we'll start there just 100 years ago. Women got the right to vote, not from women, not from other women giving them that power, but from straight men giving them that power. Did straight men suddenly wake up and decide, you know what, women need the right to vote? No. It was a woman who came forward, okay? It was a woman who came forward and got to the guys who had this power, and they manipulated those guys into allowing women the right to vote. And a lot of times, again, even 100 years ago, they were already using these same tactics. Shaming tactics, guilting tactics, that's a big one. They'll guilt you into feeling sympathy for their cause. They'll shame you into feeling sympathy for their cause. Right? And even threaten you into feeling sympathy for their cause. You see that happening today with cancel culture. And effectively, what are all these tactics? They're manipulative tactics, right? They're manipulation tactics. So even back then, women were given the right to vote because they successfully manipulated men into giving them that right to vote. Okay, and you can sit there and go, no, these men wanted to give them the right to vote. They knew it was the right thing. It's like, really? If they knew it was the right thing all along, why didn't they give it to them sooner? No, it took a woman, I believe it was one woman who started this, and then she started to gather up more women together to get to the men who were in power, who had the ultimate say in this, the ultimate decision, and manipulate them into giving them the right to vote. So that's where it started. These men didn't just altruistically decide, like, you know what? I've been wrong all along, girl. You should all have the right to vote. No, they got manipulated into it. Because believe me, these guys did try to hold their ground and did try to be like, yeah, I don't think you should be. I don't think that's a good idea because this, and this can happen. Right? Our founding fathers said, there's a potential for this, this effect to happen from this cause. Or this cause to happen from this effect. And the women were like, well, we've got thousands of women, and we're entering the workforce and we work just as hard as our husbands and this and that. And they started making their case and they started playing on these guys' emotions and the fact that they're straight men, and straight men constantly wanting sex from women, because even back then, 100 years ago, people were having sex, believe it or not. And they used that to their advantage. So let's fast forward for a moment to the 60s. Okay? This was a time of sexual liberation for women, sexual freedom, free love, as they used to call it. Right? The swinging 60s. Who allowed this to happen? How did women gain the right to have this movement? Did they just suddenly wake up and go, all right, sexual freedom, ladies, we're just going to do this. All right? Nobody's going to stop us. Nobody's standing in our way. No. Okay? Somebody who had to open up the floodgates and allow this to happen. They had to get permission for them to have freedom sexually. Somebody had to give women that power back in the 60s to have that movement of sexual liberation, that movement of feminism. Okay, who opened the floodgates? It was straight men. Okay? Did straight men in the 60s just wake up? Like I said, did they just wake up and decide, yeah, now's the time, ladies. Let's give you guys some sexual liberation. No. No. The women came to them and said, hey, we want this. Okay? We want the right to exercise sexual freedom. We want the right, okay, to start spreading feminism and start marching in the streets and protesting and all this other stuff. We want the right to do whatever we want to do sexually, and we don't want to be shamed for it. We don't want this. We don't want that. And these guys probably held their ground for a little bit and was like, no, I don't think this is good for society. I don't think this is good for children. I don't think this is good for future generations. I don't think this is a good idea. And of course, the women applied more pressure on them, used a little harsher shaming tactics, right? A little more guilt tactics, to try to get these guys to sympathize with their movement, to try to get these guys to give in and kowtow to their demands. And eventually they did, right? They did. Because at the end of the day, these are manipulation tactics. So they successfully manipulated straight men again in the 60s. Okay? And then, if we fast forward to today, who is allowing cancel culture to thrive? All of this wokeness that you see in society. Who is allowing this to happen? Straight men. Who are being manipulated? Straight men. Who do you see out there turning into complete pussies, like just completely like going spineless and turning into weak beta males in the face of all of these like threats that you're going to be canceled, you're going to lose your job, mister. Oh, you're going to be taken off social media. You're not going to have a voice. You'll never be able to make a living ever again if you don't follow our demands. If you don't cave in and give us what we want. We're going to shame you. We're going to oust you on Twitter. Who's allowing this to happen? It's straight men. Who are being manipulated? Straight men. Right? We're being forced to comply or else. We're being threatened to comply or else. We're being shamed to comply or else. Okay? You see all these guys being publicly shamed for the world to see. Right? Publicly shamed in front of everybody in order to get them to cave. Okay? Look at what's happening today. Go out there and tell people you're a Christian. Go out there and tell them that, you're a straight man. Doesn't even matter what race anymore, right? Used to be like, oh, straight white men. No, now it's all men. See how bad it's getting? You'll be shamed, right? You'll be shut down if you are not pulling the current social narrative, if you are not supporting the current social narrative. Right? Even if you don't believe in it, you have no say in this, son, because you'll be shut down. Okay? By force, by shame, by guilt. And at the end of the day, what are these tactics, guys? They're manipulation tactics, and they only work on straight men because they won't work on gay men. Gay men can't give these chicks power, right? Because they don't care. There's nothing to gain for them. Straight men, what's being held as leverage? Sex, right? And now, obviously, keeping your livelihood, keeping your job, staying out of trouble, not being publicly ousted, not being constantly nagged about what a horrible person you are because you're not supporting women's rights. You're not at the pussy march, mister. Try telling somebody out there that you're say you're a men's rights activist, or something like that. Try telling somebody you're red pill. See how that goes. Yeah, dude, you'll be shamed to shit by most people. Not all, but most. Right? Most people who are sheep or asleep. And they will try to twist your arm to pull their narrative. Using what? Manipulation tactics. Because at the end of the day, that is who gives women power. That is who gives all of this, all of these movements that statistically have been bad for society, power. I mean, right or wrong, look at what's happened statistically since, for example, giving women the right to vote. The size of welfare has ballooned. The size of government has gone through the roof. The less freedoms we have these days, you notice that? It's like and I have to be careful to say this on YouTube, the more power that we've given to women, the less freedoms we've had as not just men, but as a society, right? Our freedoms have slowly been taken away, right? They've been taken away. I mean, nowadays you can't even make a move without the government like constantly intervening in your life. Like they're in our lives too much, right? Every single move you make, they're involved. Right? You can't even throw a frisbee at the beach anymore. You can't even run your dog at the beach, right? You can't even have a bonfire at the beach. I remember in high school, that was like one of the most fun things to do as a kid. We used to go bonfire at the beach. We used to go like with my high school girlfriend into the caves and everything and make out. This is before like we were having sex, but we go in there, make out, have bonfires with all my friends. And now you can't even do that. It's illegal. Whose beach is that? It's ours. How did these freedoms get taken away? Ooh, bigger government, bigger government. This is why I never vote left, guys. I mean, I've told you guys that I never, ever, 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 ever support any leftist candidate. Basically any Democrat. I will never do it because all they're about is growing the size of government and, encroaching on your freedoms and just getting in your life even more. I'm for any candidate, even if I don't like them, I'm for any candidate that wants to shrink the size of government because they're just in our lives too much. And I've always said government is evil, man. Government is evil. They don't really do any good. They're just evil, right? And since women were given the right to vote, the size of government has just ballooned in size. Size of the welfare state has ballooned in size. The amount of single mothers has just skyrocketed. Right? The amount of crime in the streets has skyrocketed. Okay, along with a number of other things. But the point of this coaching video is where are women getting power? They're getting it from manipulating straight men. Right? And again, this is not something that would be a popular thing to say, but when you look at the facts and statistics historically, it's very hard to deny. Okay, it's very, very hard to deny. Because where else would they get that power, right? Who held that power initially? It was men who held that power and inevitably gave away that power. Not because they wanted to be altruistic, because they suddenly woke up and realized that, yep, this is the right thing to do. It's because they got their arms twisted. It was because they got guilted into doing it. They got shamed into doing it. Read your history books, right? That's all you have to do. And I've always said, too, in another life I would have been a history teacher because that was the one subject that I loved, and I loved to read, and I loved to see, like, where we came from and what was, like, the history of the country and just how things evolved. I've always been fascinated by that. Okay, but in any case, what you see happening today is you see a lot of women who are against men, right? And this is the last point I'm going to make tonight. You see most modern women, we call them modern women these days, who, for the most part, don't like men, right? Are constantly attacking men, attacking masculinity, attacking guys, right? So essentially, they're biting the hand that feeds them, aren't they? Because where did they get their power from? They got their power from straight men. So you're attacking those same straight men that gave you that power to begin with, that you still need to gain even more power. Right? And really, at the end of the day, women have never been able to make a move in society, and really still can't, without male approval. Okay? Without male approval. And the way they get it is through manipulation, mostly sexual manipulation. Okay? And this is why the majority of men who are allowing themselves to be manipulated and have their arms twisted are generally simps, right? They're mostly simps. And these are the same guys that are really like at the very core of things, the cause of a lot of the chaos you see happening in the world today is guys who were just too weak to hold their frame, too weak to say no, too weak to do what is right, what is best for society, what is good, what is best for children. And instead, they buckled at the knees and they gave away their power because they couldn't hold frame in the face of all of these manipulation tactics, all of the shaming, all of the guilt trips, all of the threats that they would be shut down or removed from office or fired. They just kowtowed and they're like, okay, fine, we'll give it to you. Just don't do anything to me, right? They weakened. Or a lot of times the guy was just, again, he's a simp and he wants to gain the girl's sexual favors or the girl's, he wants to be in the good graces of her. Even if she doesn't give him sex, he wants to be in her good graces because she's a woman, and he kowtowed. Right? That's what you call a simp. A guy who doesn't do what's right, he doesn't do what he knows he should do, but instead he does what the woman wants him to do. Right? Essentially, he makes the woman his god. And that will always lead you to evil, is when you make, the creature your creator. You can't do that. You can't make, the woman your god. Right? God has to be your god. And you have to do what's right as a man. You have to have integrity. And a lot of these guys who gave away their power were simps. They didn't have integrity. They were not strong enough to hold their frame. But that's all I'm going to say on tonight's topic, guys. Leave your comments below, as always. I know this is going to kind of be a little polarizing, even though it should be. It's just reality. I take it for what it is. If you're offended by it, drop those comments below. Let me know why you're offended and what specifically offended you and why, right? Explain why. Don't just throw some personal attacks like, don't like that shirt, mister. Ooh, I don't like that hair, mister. Don't like that watch, mister. And all this other stuff that women constantly do to try to shame you to comply. You see, the majority of females that hate on me on my date, especially on my dating channel, or even on this channel every once in a while. They don't really come on this channel, but especially my dating channel, they're never debating me on the topic. They're never trying to put forth a solid argument for why I'm wrong. Even though I ask questions, I'm like, okay, why do you think this is wrong? I'm willing to openly discuss. Oh, because you're stupid. You're dumb. Oh, you probably had a bad relationship with your mom. And it's like, okay, more manipulation tactics. More manipulation tactics to get me to comply, because women do that to each other, right? That's how they get each other to comply, through manipulation tactics. That's why they sabotage each other. That's why they gossip behind each other's backs, and they're like, oh, Betty's a slut. Oh, really? Jenny's a slut too. And, she slept with 10 guys. Well, Betty slept with 20, and they do these things all behind the scenes. And then when they're in front of each other face to face, they're like, oh, hi, Betty. Hi, Jenny. Oh, you're my bestie. Oh, I love you so much, girlfriend. You're my girlfriend. Guys don't do that. We don't do that to each other, unless you're stuck in your feminine frame, like these guys raised by single moms. They do that. right? Again, I mentioned the guys who do the exposed vids, done same ones who've done ones on me, right? They're the same, like manipulation tactics. I've never heard from these guys. They've never reached out to me personally and be like, Matt, I don't like you. This is why I don't like you. What do you think about that? No, they just like do the smear campaign, do the manipulation. Like, oh, look at this guy. Oh, he's stupid. He's stupid. Oh, and no different than a woman, right? Same type of manipulation tactics. So be careful. Be careful. Okay? Because not only females use manipulation tactics these days. Now, because we've had such a rise in the amount of single moms out there raising boys in fatherless homes, now these guys that are adults, you have just such a rise and influx of these guys who look like men, but they are women, right? Their entire behavioral traits frame their way of dealing with the world and conducting themselves in the world is from a feminine frame. So by that effect, they are female and they are using manipulation tactics. And like I said, you could see it for yourself. Okay, even the people who hate on me, you could see it for yourself. These guys are women. They're not men, they're women. And they're using the same tactics that women are wired to use. Okay? Women are wired to use. Right or wrong, they're wired to use it because that's how they evolved. Okay, I'm not faulting them for that. I'm not like, oh, stupid women. No, that's just how we evolved as a species. Right? And I'm just being real about it. And I'm just giving you a short history lesson on how women achieve power and how they continue to achieve power. Like just women, I mean, even in careers, these women being helicoptered into these CEO positions with major corporations, with major shareholders, right? That statistically end up wrecking these companies. Right? Who is helicoptering these chicks into these CEO offices with these major corporations? It isn't other women. It isn't other women going, yeah, get her in there. No, it's straight men that are allowing that to happen, that are giving that power away and going, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, let's have this quota. Who's creating these quotas? Straight men. They're allowing this to happen, right? Who put this agenda forward in front of their faces? It was women. It's women coming to straight men and going, hey, you guys need to have this many more women on your board of executives. You have to have a quota of this many females, in this department, and, all these crazy things that, these guys could have easily said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to take the best candidates and hire them, male or female. That's the right thing to do. We hire based on merit. Not skin color, not gender, but on merit. And then the women probably said, nope, gotta meet this quota, otherwise you're a bad little man. You're just a greedy little man. Okay, and you must hate women if you don't want to bring more women in. Do you have a problem with that? Did you have a problem with your mom, mister? Huh? Do you not get along with your mom? Did she not like you? And started doing all that stuff. Right? The shaming language, the twisting of the arm. How would you like it if I told your supervisors that you don't like women, that you hate women? How would you like it, mister, if you don't have a job tomorrow, right? And then the threats come in, the cancel culture come in. Oh, maybe Twitter needs to know about this. Maybe Facebook would like to know who you are, and they'd like to know your address. They'd like to know where your kids go to school. All of a sudden, that starts happening. Twisting of the arm, the threats, the guilt, all this. Next thing you know, the guy goes, fine. Okay, fine. We'll adhere to that quota. Just leave me alone. The guy got manipulated, right? Twisted his arm, guilted him, shamed him, threatened him, and then he got manipulated. Instead of being like, no, I'm not going to do it. You do that, I'll call my lawyer. You do that, and you'll see what happens to you. I will oust you just the same. You're wrong, right? He didn't stand his ground. And he gave in. But like I said, who gives women these power? It's not other women. Right? It's straight men. Right? It's not gay guys, it's straight men. Right? Because if the world was full of gay guys tomorrow, no more straight men, just all gay guys, who would women manipulate for power? What would happen? That would be like complete chaos. Because gay guys would want to keep their power, and straight women would want the power, and gay guys would be like, I don't want anything from you. Screw you. And there would be this huge battle, right? Back and forth. But because the straight men exist and we're the majority of the population, we are the prime targets to be manipulated. Feel me? So, drop the comments below. As always, this is Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets. I'm signing out here from my hotel room in Vegas. Got a spectacular view here. Can't get enough of this. Gonna be here for the month, filming content, taking a few private coaching students out onto the strip, doing some pickup, doing some game, and obviously continuing to work, grind, and enjoy life, right? Enjoy Vegas. You only live once. So don't forget to smash that like button below. Go ahead and smash it right now. Also hit that notification bell right next to it so that you are notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a ton when you actually subscribe to my channel. It tells YouTube that you're loving my content, you're digging it, and you want me to produce more of it. So make sure you sub to my channel as well. And for all of you guys who want to support my work and my content and all of this red pill, gold pill, platinum pill, and awesome pill that I'm teaching you even further, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, which I'm hosting on a private platform away from YouTube. And the reason why I'm doing that is to protect my content from YouTube in the event they try to shut me down one day. They won't be able to, because all of my premium Alpha Male Secrets content will be protected on a private platform, and I am paying for that platform, so nobody could ever take us down. Right? And that is the absolute best way to support my work, is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel. And it's real easy to get signed up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. I love waking up to this, guys. It's actually about 6 a.m. in the morning, and heading off to the hotel gym here to do my workout. That's why I'm in my workout gear right now. But yeah, it's pretty early, and I like to get started early on my day and get out to the strip before other people get out there. But got a great view here. I usually stay way back there at the Venetian, but everything is pretty booked up this month for some odd reason. So everything's like really booked up, and this was actually a last minute trip to Vegas, and I was fortunate enough to get this room. I have pretty good status here in Vegas. I have like diamond VIP status, so I could get a room pretty much guaranteed to me whenever I want to come out. And it usually has a pretty decent view. This is not bad. I've had better views, but this is not, I mean, especially for last minute and Vegas being booked, I'm pretty happy, right? And it looks good on camera, so I'd like to share it with you guys as well. In case you've never been to Vegas, try to share as much of it with you as possible while we bang out these coaching videos. Until next time.